Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. This is Daniel Fitzgerald. Hope you're well. You can't see my face, but I'm going to post this on YouTube. Under Daniel Fitzgerald. The reason for this video is to explain to people regarding the documents I posted on my boat Jacob's Ladder. I wanted to give some insight on video on YouTube into my personal life, which is to explain to you people who looked at the documents that I'm a boat builder. I've been a boat builder for 35 years, at least. I've been building boats since I was probably 12, playing with them since I was 3. Started in the pool when I was 3, with all kinds of plastic boats. I had a rowboat when I was 3. I rowed across Lake Couchiching in Ontario when I was 3 years old on my rowboat that my grandfather built me. And my parents couldn't find me. They got worried. So I've been building them been around them since I was 3, building them since I was 12, and I'm a professional boat builder. I'm also capable of doing surveys on any kind of yacht. I can survey any vessel, okay? Wood, fiberglass, steel. I can build steel boats, wood boats, fiberglass boats. I can even build ferro cement boats, and I'll show you some of the reasons why, okay? In this video. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm in my shop. It's a bit of a mess in here. I apologize to you viewers and member states of the international community, okay? But you see, Transport Canada, in their actions against my boat Jacob's Ladder, which is going to be in the Supreme Court, okay, applying the Commercial Shipping Act, tried to make me look stupid. They tried to make me look like I didn't know what I was doing. They tried to make me look like I didn't know anything about my boat. And that was violating all these things, okay? Well, first of all, number one is the Transport Canada's action, both there and here in Ottawa, was illegal because they applied the Commercial Shipping Act, okay? This was admitted to by Mary Cannon, as you saw in the documents, and I have more documents and photographs than what I showed you. What I showed you is a sample. It's like, let me explain. It's like you're a business person, you know, you want to order a product from a company in China, manufacturer, and you want to order a couple hundred of them and several containers full to possibly sell to the market here in Canada. But before you do, you're going to want some samples to see the quality of the material, right? Well, let's just apply that business style with the documents I posted on YouTube, which I explained. Now, let's get into my personal life here in my room, which I don't think nobody's seen this room. I don't think so. I don't think anybody's seen this room. A few people have seen my work room here, but not the public. So I'm going to show it. And we'll start off, first of all, before I do this, number one, I want to show you something. This is my Bible that I keep talking about. You can see all the duct tape on it. I've had it since 2009. It's 138 years old. This is it here. Let me put the phone this way. See, that's my Bible. It's a little ripped. I've got stuff all over it. This is the one that's very true. It's a very old 1882 edition of the Prince James Bible. Okay, let's just see. Let me go to the back because I think its true identification is at the back. Let me just see here. I've read this Bible here. Okay, here's some of it here. Let's see some of the old writing. You can see, isn't it beautiful? And that's beautiful. Look at that. Maps and plans. Let's just flip a couple pages here. I don't know. I think it's here somewhere. Let me just look at the last page here. These are the maps. They're very old. And I want to show you something in these maps for those that are religious or interested. Here is Mount Sinai. Why won't it focus? I don't know. That should autofocus. Oh, there we go. Okay, there's Mount Sinai's right here. You can see it. Let the phone just, there's Sinai. You see Sinai? Now you look on that map, that's where Sinai is. They've got it over here in Saudi Arabia, across the Gulf of Aqaba. But the real Sinai is right there. If you look closely at the image, the Gulf of Suez, and you see the Gulf of Aqaba, And right there is Sinai. That's right on my map in my Bible. Okay. Now, let's turn a few more pages. Okay, let me see if I can find Prince James. I also have a Torah too. It's wrapped up in plastic. I do have a Torah. Here's a map here, but it started to fall apart. See that? Because of the age of the Bible. Look. See, it's starting to deteriorate now. That's how old this Bible is. Okay, but I've kept it. It's in pretty good condition for 138 years old. And my Prince James Bible is the only copy of this edition on earth. The other copy is a guy in England, has the Oxford edition circa 1882. He said that there was a Prince James version. When I saw his Oxford edition, 1882, it's the same as this one, except it's an Oxford edition. He said that there's one Prince James copy left, and it's the only one left on earth. He said, lucky is the person who has it. And that's happened to be me. Now, in regards to my boat building, the kinds of books that I study for building different kinds of boats, and I'll show you a book that I know like the palm of my hand, and I bought this book 30 years ago, cost me $30, and my wife and I left it somewhere when we had to run. But this is typical of the books that I read regarding boat building. Here it is. It is Steel Boat Building from Plans, Thomas Colvin. I just purchased this book for $80 because I had this guy give me a steel boat, and this is one of the best boat building books on the planet. If you're planning on building a steel boat, it doesn't matter what kind it is, Thomas Colvin covers everything from the keel up, putting on the plating and everything else. And I've had this book before. So these are the kinds of books I read, and I've read lots of them. So I have that one, and I'll just find a place to put it. My workshop's in a mess. I think most people can identify with that. Here is some of my evidence pertaining to Canada's Nazification of security is based on this book here. This book would be entered into evidence with the Supreme Court. I'll just browse it by you. Here it is. This is Hitler's legacy. And while I'm on the subject, I got to go to page 65. I'll just whiz through this one, take a few minutes, then we'll get to the boating business. Okay. Okay, that's not it. Depends how fast I can find it, because I don't want to waste too much video. Okay, let me just read to you a portion of this book. This is some of the evidence from around 1945 Germany after the war. I'll read it to you briefly. This is part of the material I was going to use historically in the Supreme Court, proving that Canada has Nazified its law enforcement. Okay, let me show you. I've highlighted it as well for the Supreme Court of Canada. Here we go. This is this section here. It says, the arrest on July 23rd, 1959 of Rhineland-Pfalz Chief of Criminal Police, George Hauser, focused concern on ex-Nazis commanding the West German police forces in 1942. Hauser had commanded the Nazi death squad, which murdered 70,000 victims in Belarusia. Hauser, born in 1909 and being an SS Hauptsturmenführer captain, he directed Abteilung IV, the Gestapo, at the Nazi police office in Minsk, the Belarusian capital city. Prosecutors took several years to bring this case to trial. It was held over 7 months at Koblitz in 1962. 3 trial proceedings took up to 60 full days of court time. Now, let me just go to the bottom here because I want to be quick about this. And this is the bottom of page 73. Okay, let's go to the bottom, last chapter. This is what counts. As of September 1959, ex-SS or Gestapo officers headed the criminal police offices at Kolin, Dusseldorf, Dortmund, and this other place, Gelsenkirchen, the police chiefs at Essen and Bonn, and ranking police officers in smaller cities of Krefeld and this place here I can't pronounce were also, what does it say? Ex-SS officers. So the Nazi SS started spreading their wings again after the war was over, taking over as chiefs of police in Germany. So that's part of my evidence against what Canada's done. Here's my other book. It's In the Garden of Beasts by Eric Larson. I'm reading it again for about the 5th time. I've already got some stuff highlighted by pencil. I got to read some more of it. Just letting you know that I'm researching, dipping into the research again for the purpose of the Supreme Court of Canada regarding the Nazi issue with the Trudeau government. Now, on to my boats. This boat here, I'll just point it out. There it is there. This is the boat I built. It's reasonably big. You know, it's about 39 inches. I built it from a set of blueprints. There's the scale props and runners. Of course, the props are not quite to scale. Here's the cabin. There's the homemade winch I built myself. The anchor winch that I built, which I welded together and cut out of brass. It's kind of, I don't know. All the little cleats you see on here, the rails, I cut and built myself and welded together. There's the cleats. There's a stern cleat. There's a little swim platform that I put on it, which took me hours to build. The doors, as you can see, have real what appears to be real portholes. You can see the same down here. If you look, they look pretty real. There's some on where the engine room is, typical of a boat that size. And here's a little swim platform I built for it. If you look at the transom, it's been sitting in the dust. I haven't ran it in a couple of years. Here's the transom, all planked, varnished. The little swim platform that I built. It took me hours just to fabricate these parts. Lots of dust on them. Had to vacuum it, I guess. Good thing I took it out. Here's the little hatch I built. Here, all out of planking and varnished and everything. This is the inside. That's the battery holder. I built all this. I'm sorry, it's really dirty. Maybe I should have vacuumed it up first. Well, let's take a look here. I put some teeth on the front of it to move debris out of the way when it's in the water. And put the little cap back, the hood back on the back. Let's take a look at the cabin. Here's this was supposed to be a running light in there. It's supposed to be a mini menorah, a 7-stem menorah with a little bulb on it on the port and starboard side. I'd started it, but I'd run the boat and I hit a branch with it and these busted off. And you can see the little windows. There's the front, what the front looks like. A little tiger on the side there. There's the back door window. And on the inside, oh, well, looky here, I've got some interesting things in here. I forgot these were in here actually. So wait a minute. Okay, and then we'll move on to some other things. So this boat here I built from scratch. Here's the inside. I built it according to the drawings, scaled down. Okay, that's what the inside looks like. All the framing and everything is a copy from the blueprints. Okay, from the real thing. Here's the inside of it. I'm sorry. And I've got a propeller. I was wondering where that was actually. I was looking for that thing. Here's the mast for the boat here. I built this mast myself. This is all made out of wood. There's a little thing there for a little mast to lift stuff out of the boat. I was going to hook winches up to it, electric winches by remote. Here's my lights that I made. It's homemade, it's all from scratch. And I put these little pegs in for the little man that crawls up to the top to fix the lights. I did those. And then there's my big tugboat propeller there. I'll explain that one in a minute. And let's take a look at the inside. Okay, here is the inside. Okay, you can see the wooden frames I put in. You can see them spaced apart exactly as the drawings from the original full-size boat indicated. You can see the electric engines in there with the shafts and couplings and so on. You can see the servo. You can see these are 2 fan-cooled speed controls. This is my receiver for my radio. Batteries for the radio, which I should have taken out of there. And you can see the keel down there. That's all made out of wood. Okay, the whole boat is made out of wood. It's got a coating of fiberglass cloth over it. I think it's 3 ounce or something. And this is this model here I customized from the plans slightly. I made the boat longer, and what I did was I made it higher. So the bow is 1 inch higher than the plans indicate. So the boat overall is 1 inch higher, but where I made a mistake, I did make an error in extending it, the height, was you can see up here, if you look at the back, you can see that the back, well, I don't know if you can tell, but the back kind of comes in. You know, I should have widened it out. I should have put another inch on the stern. This is a particular hard boat to build because of the angle. The stern has a reverse curve. See, on each side, how it goes in at the top and spreads out as it comes to the turn of the bilge. And you see the 2 little exhausts I put on it? There they are. See? So, you know, it's the same principle as a real boat. You would apply the same mechanics are all the same. The tooling is all the same. For example, to build a boat like this full size, you need one of these. This is called a bandsaw, you see. Bandsaws are specifically used in steel boat building. Now remember this prop here. I'll show you something else. Put that away. This is what I usually do, except when I have a real boat, then I don't really have a lot of time to build the models. And I'm working on a real boat, I'm doing the same thing, but it's with something full size, but essentially the same principles are applied. This is my bandsaw right there, which I'm working on. Get these books out of the way. Probably crunched for room here. Whoa. Space problem now here. So let's put this over here for a moment. Now the next boat I'm going to be building is right here. There it is. That's the next boat. When you see the drawings on the wall, that means I'm committed to another project. Okay, and the engine for that boat is right here. Here it is. This is the engine for this boat on the wall. This is a weed eater engine. You see, what I did here was I milled down the fins on my metal lathe. There's my metal lathe. It's a 7x14. I had to hook up a 3/4 horse motor to it with single speed because the DC Chinese circuit board was shot. I've seen this on YouTube quite a bit. I did some rebuilding of it. I put an extension here to give it, so this would come out an extra inch, so that I could put thicker stock into the 4-inch chuck. I repaired the tailstock. I didn't do a very good job, but the tailstock is much better than it was. And this is the milling machine I have right here. Yeah, this is for working with metal. You see, all of this metal working stuff, eh? And these are some of the tools. There's this one here. It's a dial indicator. That's what it looks like. Very important tool. And where's my other tools? What do I do with them? Them all lined up. I don't know what I did with them. Wait a minute. What did I do with them? I have some other tools here. They're here somewhere. Oh, here we are. Here's one. This one here is cost me $120. It is a coaxial centering indicator. Okay, for my milling machine. This is what it looks like. It's a very, very expensive tool, but it's also a very important tool because what it does is it centers round stock for my milling machine. It puts it into dead center so I can cut dead center on it. The lathe is already centered up with the chuck. When you stick something in the chuck, it's pretty well centered up. And there's all my chucks, keys for my chuck. There's my inserts, my RA inserts for the milling machine. This is my drill doctor, sharpens my drill bits that I have. And this is a big machining vise that I have. Here is my big project. Up here is my 8-foot tugboat that I've been building off a set of plans, again based on the original. Here is the foam lifeboat that I carved for it, which is in the plans. This is perfect size, perfect to scale. What I was going to do is use the foam for epoxy shell with some fiberglass to create an epoxy lifeboat and use this as the mold, although it's deteriorated over time. And there's my funnel up there for the tugboat, which is also a mold for a fiberglass funnel, which I would scratch make. But that tugboat's I've been building that tugboat since 2017. I've dragged it everywhere. It's got considerably more planking on it now than it did. You know, it's pretty close to the hulls being finished. I had to stop working on it because I didn't have enough room in here. Terrible. This wood you see over here, this is garbage wood. I collect garbage wood, and that's how I build most of my models. This little boat here was built all from 2x4s. And I did all the milling of the wood myself, just 2x4s from a pile. This whole boat is built from garbage wood, from recycling. That wood there, 8 foot tall. This wood, and there's some on top of my tugboat, you can see it there. That's all garbage wood. I found a couple of doors that were thrown out that had 1/8 plywood skins. So I salvaged them for this boat. It'll be the skins for this boat. This boat here is a 41-foot Coast Guard utility boat. Now I kind of wanted to start building metal boats, completely out of metal like the originals. And this Coast Guard utility boat was built entirely out of metal, okay? And I could duplicate that. I have a welder, okay? And this is something that I would really like to do, is get into metal model boat building, where the boat is made out of metal components instead of wood, which is, I have the capability to do that. Right now my bandsaw, as you can see, it's got no motor. My gosh, where is it? Well, I decided to convert my bandsaw for cutting metal and wood. This is what I do. Of course, this video won't be in the hobby section. So, but here's my 1/2-inch drill. So the 1/2-inch drill is going to go in there. This 1/2-inch drill runs at from 0 RPM to 900, and I need under 200 RPM on the bandsaw to cut metal. So it'll be a combination saw for cutting metal and wood. And I already have a metal cutting machine, which cost me $400. It's brand new. I'm not going to show that because I don't want it stolen. This is my grinder. I picked it up for $60 in a pawn shop. That's what it looks like. There's my welding helmet. This drawer here, this is my stuff in here. This is all my stuff from my work that I do. These parts here, I've got a set of blueprints for working steam engines, and I started cutting the metal components for that. I'm going to build 4 of them. Here's one of the flywheels out of 4 that I machined. There it is there. Isn't that beautiful? That's a flywheel for my 4 steam engines that I started. This is one of 4 that I've already done. Okay? And they're getting rusty though. I'm going to have to put some oil on them. And down here in this basket, if you look down, this is my vacuum cleaner. No, I'm not manufacturing guns in here, or like the paranoid RCMP would think I'm a terrorist in my building here, building bombs to blow up Parliament. Okay? Like they said that I should going around telling people that I'm a terrorist. I'm not, of course. Here's the number 2 flywheel. This here is a cylinder for my steam engine. This is one of the cylinders. The problem here is this needs to be bored to a full 1 1/8 inch. Now I was doing it on there, okay? The problem is this whole saddle shakes. It moves up and down. I tried to mill it out to bring it down because it was sitting on an angle. So was my tailstock. It was sitting on an angle like that with a big gap down here. And I tried to fix it. But I messed up on this because I couldn't get that V angle right. But I did get it leveled. You can see the crack there. See, it's perfectly level right across the bed. Where's the rest of it? And everybody has one of these. Everybody I know has got a Dremel tool. And I highly recommend these rotary tools by Wen. I've had this one for almost 3 years. It's never let me down. The Wen Moto tool it's cheap, and I'm telling you, these things are bulletproof. The Wen ones are real good one, the little kit. It's only like $50 or something, but I highly advise them for people. If you're looking for a Moto tool, all of you law enforcement officials are going to look at my videos. If you're into hobbies, get a Wen Moto tool. They're the best. Here's another flywheel. Here's a third one. Now, I thought I had 4. Was it just 3? This is the kind of steel I use for the cylinder. Look at that. This weighs about, I don't know, probably a good 20 pounds or so. But I made that out of that. I cut it myself and everything. And this is another cylinder that's not been drilled out yet. This one here I did as a test. It's bigger though. I might be able to still turn it into a steam engine, but you can see that the bore is bigger than that one. It's bigger. And this is another one I've done. Again, it's not ready yet. I need a new lathe. And I was waiting for my estate because I got a lathe all picked out. Because this lathe here, it can't cut it. It can't, I've got 3/4 inch drill bits to drill my cylinders out to 3/4, and then I could bore them out with a boring bar. But this lathe, it's not going to work. I need a new one. It's a little off center too. The lathe is not right on the money. It's not, it's not quite there. What's wrong here? Something's in there. I'll have to get at it. So yeah, so this is what I do, and this is my milling machine. It works. That's my milling machine. A very good tool to have for anybody who can afford it. If you're in the home machining, you're going to need one in a lathe. This here is one of the reasons why you need a lathe. This motor. You see, it had cooling fins on it, but I am going to turn it into a water-cooled engine, so I had to stick the cylinder head into my lathe. And don't ask me how I did that because it's tricky. But I got it in there, and I was able to mill down the cooling fins and around the cylinder, and there's going to be a cooling clamp on there, which I made based on photographs on YouTube. I made this. This took me 2 days to make. This is that little cooling thing I made for it, and it goes on like that. You see, it goes on. You see, that's what it looks like. And because I copied it off of the ones the ones that they sell, that's what it looks like. So I built that. This thing took 2 days to make. It was a solid chunk of aluminum, and it was 3 inches wide. And I had to mill all of it, the inside out. This was a solid piece in my lathe. My lathe actually did a pretty good job. The truck is aligned. The truck is fine, but it's really the saddle, and the lathe is too small, and I'm trying to get a new lathe, but as I said, my lawyer's stealing my estate and tried to steal my estate, so he won't respond to my emails. I've tried that. I told him to send me all of my information that I gave him. He's refusing to do so. So that's fine. We'll settle it in the Supreme Court. I don't care. But I'm very proud of what I did here. This is, that's really good work. These are not hard. I spent, one of these took me a day to make this part, or maybe a day and a half. Each one takes a day and a half, and I'm talking, 4 hours one day and two to 3 hours the next day just to make one. But part of the reason for that is because my lathe is just too small, underpowered. I could do it faster with larger tools. Here's my other tool that I use quite a bit. This is my vernier caliper. I use it all the time. It's very accurate. It's digital. Some guys complain that the ones without a digital readout are better. They probably are. But the nice thing about a digital readout is you can see the characters. You don't need a magnifying glass. And I guess that's about it. So this is what I do. As you can see, is there any signs of RCMP, mafia, any kind of terrorist tools here? Is there any machining of bombs or a suitcase nuclear weapon? You tell me. What do you see? There you go. This is it. This is my workshop. This is my shelves. Nothing criminal. No bombs. No bomb making material. There's another little boat there. I've actually got another one up here. Let me show you before I go. This one, this is what I should show you. This is the boat. This is the boat. Okay, now that's the other one I built. I built two. I built this one and this one off the same drawings, and that one there is the third one that I haven't actually finished. That's what it looks like. And I also built this little tender. Look at this. Look at that. That's how big it is. This is how big it is. Look. Look at all the ribs in it. I did all that by hand, planked it. It's a little boat for this boat. Like a little dinghy. And this one up top, I built. This is the second one. You can see there it is. You can see it's all glued. And I built that one. Now this boat here is this boat. This boat is actually this boat, but you can see the modification when you compare the two. Let's wait a minute now. And again, hold on. Okay. Now, if you compare the two, this boat here, okay, there's the two of them together. Now you can see the difference. Okay. I extended the length on the bottom one and the height. If you look at the bow, see how tall the bow is? I wanted the bow to have that Jaws Orca bow. You see the bow here? If you look at the bow, these are the same boat, by the way, but if you see the bow there and you look at the bow there, they're different. See, because I changed the keel on that one. What I did was I grinded in the keel so that it was a little bit more vertical and not on as much of an outward spurt as it goes up towards the deck. Again, this boat here was all made with garbage wood. All of these little planks you see all came from 2x4s that I milled down. You can see the different colors. Yeah, it still needs to be sanded. The planks stick out here and there, but I think actually it turned out pretty good. The planking, I'm rather surprised. It went on nice and straight. And this little boat here, I was gonna put a little. I was gonna put a little cabin on it and an outboard motor on the back. I got a design for an outboard motor for the back of it. There's the transom. This one would be the outboard version. So it's kind of, you know. And then there's my big tugboat up there. That's my masterpiece, that thing. This tugboat, this one I'm building, this here, this flywheel, it doesn't matter which one, they're all the same. This flywheel and this first, the first steam engine, there it is. That's the first steam engine is going to go in that boat, in my tugboat. This steam engine will be for my tugboat. The other two are for sale. I'll probably sell them for, I don't know, $1,200 each on YouTube, on eBay or something like that. But I'm going to paint the flywheel. See the rust on them? They're going to be painted. I have to sand all that rust off and then paint them. They'll be permanently painted. Probably something like Keith Appleton on YouTube. He's a model engine builder in Britain. He's my mentor. He's a good guy. He taught me everything I know. He builds Stewart engines. I also have $10,000 worth of Stewart engines that I'm going to order because I want to build them and sell them. Again, I'm waiting for my estate. I have orders from China waiting. I have a boat waiting. But most importantly is my mom's headstone and my ability to go to her funeral, which, you know, they're just sticking it to us here in Ottawa. They're playing games as usual, and I don't accept any more games. So, but anyway, so I wanted to show you people who watch my video, my workshop, and there's my set of drawings for the next project. I really wanted a gas boat. You know, electric's really nice, but it's nice to have like a real boat with a real gas engine in it. It's just that feeling is just, and the running of the engine is really kind of cool. So the design I picked is a good design. It's not too hard to build. I like the way the plans are set out. It makes it easier for the builder to build it because of that dotted line. I'm not going to explain it. There's the cabin up there, the cabin side. There's very few parts, you know, on the plans. You can just sort of use your imagination, I guess. That's the idea. And that's it. So, for those that are wondering about my workshop and what I do, I told you I'm a professional boat builder, okay? And for Transport Canada to tell me that I don't know what I'm doing, well, you see this one here? This one here is a customized version of that one, okay? And these boats were built from the ground up according to the blueprints from the real full-size boats, okay? And the blueprints, of course, were shrunken down to a smaller scale. The construction is essentially the same, okay? The framing system is the same. The only difference is with the real boat, you use timber frames, okay? Timbers. You don't use full-size plywood cutouts, okay? They're actual timbers. That I didn't do. I could have, but it's a lot more work. You know, I'd have to nail in gussets at the turn of the bilge for the bottom frame and the side frame to hold them together. I could have done it, I guess, but it's a lot of work, and it's really not required unless you're building a real boat with solid timbers. You need to have plywood gussets over them at the turn of the bilge. So, but this one here is a real star. That's my Coast Guard boat, and it's American Coast Guard boat. It's not really Canadian. Well, Canada had a couple of these, but this is not going to be a Coast Guard boat. It's going to be, I don't know, a Coast Guard boat that was sent to the scrap yard that someone bought and turned into some kind of pleasure boat. I think that's sort of the idea. With this little 25cc engine in it, it should go about 40 miles an hour, 30, 35, 40, which is plenty fast. And actually, it's looking up. I haven't worked on it in a while. But it needs quite a bit of modification. Nothing internal or anything. The internals are fine, except for, as I said, I milled down the cooling fence to put a water jacket on it, like other guys do with racing boats with these weed eater engines in them. I paid $75 for the weed eater, and this engine's relatively new. I took out the piston and checked it. There it is. There you can just see inside there. It's relatively new, hardly used. I checked it out on the inside. The piston is hardly worn at all, and the cylinder is nice and fresh. So, yeah, it should push that thing at about 40 miles an hour stock. I think this engine runs at 10,000 RPM if I put a big prop on it. I can actually make my own props as well. I probably will attempt to make a prop for it. I'd rather make it myself. I've got brass. Oh, and this is this I'll show you another thing before I go. Oops, not a lot of room. You see, it's very tight. The room is very small. I can't really. It's hard for me to do any work in here now because it's just so tight. I got so much stuff in here. There's just really not a lot of room. So I'll just pull this out slightly. Turn it. This is my little wheeled cart. And this drawer here, this has all my metal. In here. I've got bar stock here for my steam engines. These here are the plates for my steam engines for the crankshaft, and bearings and stuff will go on these plates. I've already cut them. There's 3 of them. Another one here somewhere. And this here is just shafts and stuff that I took out of a printer. I found a printer in the garbage. I take printers out of the garbage, and I take these metal shafts out of them to use them for something. This is just steel odds and ends that I find. Little tubes like that. I don't know what to use that for. Some cold rolled steel, or is that hot? No, that's hot rolled. Here's some cold rolled steel right there. Okay. I don't remember what I was going to use that for. Make a good club, that's for sure. You need to defend yourself. I got another. This is something I got. It's a little tube. I don't know what I use it for. I'm going to use this stuff. And here's some hexagon stuff. This is 12L14. This little rod here. You can see it's octagon. And what this is used for is for making nuts for bolts. So I can make my own nuts and bolts. And that's what this stuff is used for. I've got another piece here, which is a little bigger, which I've already used for nuts and bolts. And I got some brass tube. some brass plate here. This here is solid brass. This is expensive. These two pieces here, these are 17 mils. Cost me $45 on eBay for those two little pieces of brass. And so these are going to be very special. I think I'm going to use one piece for a strut for this model here. So I'll lathe it down and turn it into a nice strut, drill a hole down the middle, and put some bearings in there for the shaft. And just this stuff here is all garbage from the printers. It's solid stuff. I don't know if it's tool steel or if it's cold rolled or hot rolled or just simply polished steel to chrome. This would make a good shaft for that boat there, but this stuff here is too thin. I could use one of these as an actual shaft for that boat because these are about 1/4 inch, but I've got some other ones in here. I was thinking about that. I don't know. There's this one here. There's this one here. This would make a very good shaft. I don't know what kind of metal it is. See? Look, see? This is it. Look, see that? That's how big it is. That would be perfect there, but I have to mill it down on my lathe to 1/4 inch and then thread the end for the prop. That's it. So that's what I have. And if anybody thinks that, you know, I'm some crazy guy, you know, sitting in here building pipe bombs to get my enemies back, no, certainly not. I told you I'm religious. See? See? No. And here's my Star of David ring. But sometimes I get mad. And what is it John Wayne said in the movie? He was very religious too. I think he played a role, a Western. I'm going to go now. The video's now 41 minutes. I think John Wayne played this guy named McCandless in one of his Westerns. And he used to go to church every Sunday. And then when they started killing his friends and, you know, he threw religion away and went to his pistols to go after these criminals. You know, mind you, that's in a Western movie. I wouldn't go to that extent, but his name was Jacob McCandless. That's why I like the Western. His name was Jacob in that movie, John Wayne, and I really like Jacob, as you know. So anyways, now you know what I do. Okay, so when the government of Canada says that, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know nothing about boats. I'm going to dress them down in the Supreme Court, and they can expect that. Okay. And I say again to the public out there, listen to me. I've been waiting for this opportunity to take the government to the Supreme Court on my boat, Jacob's Ladder, now since 2012. Okay. And I was blocked from doing so by the whole government. They used every criminal in security. And Harper used every criminal, okay, in Transport Canada. And he cut deals with the opposition to get away with it. And I don't see any apologies coming out of him. So, this is the way it is. Their mission is to stop me from publicizing and going after them on that basis. That is their mission. I think that they're listening a little more now. Like they don't seem to be when I call Parliament Hill, like when I call Candace Bergen there, they don't seem to mind me leaving the messages. I think she's a good person, and I think maybe she's listening. Maybe she is, and maybe she does care. And I'll tell you, if she does, it's a first. I don't want to do this. I don't like having to go through this with the government. I don't think I should have to go to the effort to take them to the Supreme Court. But I know this: if I have to do that, then one of the first things the Supreme Court is going to say to the government is, why did you make this man have to go to this extent? To have to file here. Why'd you do this to him? What, so he could prove to you that he's going to do it? And I think that that's part of their motivation, is they want me to really work for it, is what the filthy Parliament Hill is saying. So that's fine. I don't think it's fair. personally, after what my wife and I have been through, although perhaps this is unrealistic, but I should be able just to supply the evidence and the application to the Supreme Court. It should go to the judges to make a ruling against the government. Give them back instant rulings and see what it feels like. When they go around and hunt innocent people down, commit crimes against them, violate their own acts, steal their property, and then turn around and chase them down and threaten them for trying to bring it forward to try and seek a remedy. I think that's sick. And I think most people would agree with me. Anyway, better go. So you saw my workshop, and I'll post this. I don't know if I can post it now. I don't know. I probably can, but it's going to take an hour anyway, and that's going to be a gig of data. But I think I can do it, so I'm going to do it. And I showed you my books in the beginning. I tried to tell people that, like I highlighted these books. I read them looking for evidence to prove that I'm Jewish, and the Nazi SS did exist after the war. They started rebuilding the SS in Western governments, policing security, and then in the military. And this happened in Germany after the war, and that's what they did. And this is the problem, a big one. So, and I'll say to the people something else here before I go. As I've stated to members of the UN, China, Russia, Simon Wiesenthal Center, my research biblically on climate change and the conclusions that I've drawn are all 100% accurate, including the visions I've had. I had one last night. In the vision, my wife was in an ambulance going to the hospital because they poisoned her. It woke me up, and I called Simon Wiesenthal Center, as I normally do. And again, it's angels of God letting me know that, they're still trying to kill us. This is still ongoing. So, I'm letting the public know, my videos are difficult for you to get to because YouTube has hidden them. If you punch in Daniel Fitzgerald in the YouTube search engine, it'll pop up, and there's several Daniel Fitzgeralds. Which one? You see these little round dots. Which one do you look for? Well, it's the orange one with a white D in the middle. And after this video is posted, it will say 11 videos. Okay, that's mine. And I wear my kip and my hat. I have glasses on. And I shaved my great big beard off. And I just have a beard here on the front. So for people to know who I am. And I think that's about it. We'd like to get out of here. My wife and I, my lawyer deliberately did this. He knew all along that I was executor and trustee. He knew that my brother's will that he drew up was illegal. He knew this. My lawyer knew. He could have, as executor and trustee and beneficiary, okay, when I asked my lawyer, Mr. J.L. Lee Maloney, for the last 7 months for an advance, he didn't give it to me. He tried to give me some garbage reason. He said, I'm not executor. I can't. Well, the point here is, Mr. Maloney, is I was executor and trustee all along, as well as beneficiary. And according to my mom's will, I'm allowed to borrow on the estate. But Mr. Maloney and my brother were trying to keep me from getting any money from the estate. This was their intent. And this is going to the Supreme Court, Mr. Maloney. You understand? And attacks against my wife and I, or threats or intimidations by people for me taking the action, are not going to change things at all. It's only going to make things worse. If I have to take Maloney to the Supreme Court of Canada over the estate, then I'm going to request $50,000 in compensation for the emotional damage. Okay, my mom needed a headstone. Mr. Maloney stopped me from going to the banks on that. Mr. Maloney stopped me from going to the banks in February, knowing my brother was going around with a fraudulent will that was illegal. Mr. Maloney knew that. Jeremy Rubenstein confirmed that when he looked at the wills. So did Peter Bonifant, who wrote my mom's will. And so did 2 other attorneys. Okay? So, yeah, Mr. Maloney was defrauding me of my right to be executor and trustee. He knew all along that legally I was. He and my brother, whether together or opponents, they could have been opposition to each other, but both were striving to do the same thing. Okay? All right, now Mr. Maloney won't respond to my emails. I requested him to send me the documents back, my mom's death certificate. So I requested the entire file and the contacts and information about the other attorneys, information about contact with my brother. I requested these documents to be returned to me. Mr. Maloney has not done that. So I wanted to let you people out in public know, okay, that Mr. Maloney is guilty. That's probably why he doesn't want to give me the file. You got to remember, he lied about the storage. So it was an outright lie. And then on the 15th of July, he calls me up, on a Friday. He tells me, Dan, you have your money next week for your headstone for your mom, and you'll be able to take care of your boat. I waited all weekend. And Monday, Tuesday, no call from Mr. Maloney. And then I figured out that he had completely lied. And of course, he'll go into court and the Supreme Court respond and say it's hearsay, it's not admissible. Oh, really, Maloney? Well, Mr. Maloney, all my sent emails to you since February, they are admissible. Okay. So, we'll see. That's enough now. I'm not going to let this what this lawyer put me and my wife through. I'm not going to let it interfere with my daily activities. As soon as I get the laptop, Maloney, you're done, and I mean it. He thinks Mr. Maloney said to me on the phone one day. He said, "Do you have any idea who I am?" Well, Mr. Maloney, I can't seem to find anything about you that makes you special. I'm sorry. Do you have any idea, Maloney, who I am? I'm the guy who's going to take away your right to practice legally. Shalom. God bless. God bless all of you. Shalom. God bless.